Right guys, it seems Poundland Rod Stewart, also known as the Pimlico Plumbers Ponce or Charlie Mullins, appeared on GB News recently. He was talking about the lockdown files, and I've got to say, it was bloody genius them getting him on there. I mean, the first minute or two is pure gold, but there are other highlights we'll also go through and take apart.
It really is the gift that keeps on giving, this Telegraph investigation. Among many of the government advice at the time was a somewhat mandatory COVID vaccination. One man hit the headlines in 2021 for introducing this mandatory requirement for all staff, and he's here with us now. Charlie Mullins, founder and former owner of Pimlico Plumbers. Good morning to you, Charlie.
Morning.
You were certainly a controversial figure during this particular time. Never been known one to shy away from controversy anyway, are you?
Yeah, calling Poundland Rod Stewart a controversial figure is certainly one way to put it. Most people I know would call him a septic spot on the arse of humanity, following things like this.
And, you know, the quicker that everybody acknowledges that, without proof of the vaccine, you can't go into a pub, club, restaurant, gymnasium, anywhere at all. You can't travel, theatre, you can't even go into work. I mean, personally, I have to say, I don't even think that we should allow people on the streets unless they've had the vaccine.
Yeah, controversial is putting it lightly, I don't mind bloody saying. Anyway, let's hear what he has to say now. Reality's caught up with him and the narrative he held push.
And we like an opinionated man on this show, but when you look at this now, when you look at the backstory and what was going on behind the scenes, do you feel that you were lied to about how serious the situation was?
Well, yeah, of course it was. I mean, all the country was lied. I mean, it was very misled, and looking back on it, I mean, you know, I think obviously there was under a lot of pressure at the time, but there was a lot of information held back. I think they over-exaggerated so many things. I mean, I don't feel I've done anything wrong. We just, you know, carried out what the government was suggesting to us, but...
Well, I'm sorry, but I've got to call bullshit on that there, because not only does he admit that they lied to him while also trying to defend them, but he actually has the brass neck to say he did nothing wrong. Is he actually taking the piss there, or is it just me that thinks doing shit like this is the bottom of the bloody barrel?
Look, undoubtedly, you know, 2 or 3 months ago, I came up with the idea, no jab, no job. And that's something we're carrying out at Pimlico Plumbers. Nobody's going to come and work for us unless they've had the vaccine and they've got proof that they've had it. We're not going to send engineers out to customers' houses once the vaccine is properly rolled out unless they've had the vaccine. So for me, it's a no-brainer. From a business point of view, it's a must.
Yeah, forcing staff to get medical treatments to work for you is medical fascism, and let's be honest, pure scumbag behaviour. And that there actually leads on to the bit where he said this is what the government wanted us to do, which yes, they did mention it, but they never told you to do it. In fact, you admit you proudly introduced it first, insinuating that you did it even before the government pushed it. So yeah, that last statement's pure bollocks, because the only people the government tried to force into getting jabs was NHS and care home staff, not bloody plumbers. You did that yourself, so own it, you bloody coward.
Now it's all coming out through this journalist. I think that, you know, we're certainly misled, and you know, so much was, you know, the country was locked down for too long, loans and furlough, all this was so unnecessary looking back on it. I think the only thing they got right was the vaccination.
Oh, they got the jabs right, did they? So why did Chris Whitty say the virus you got terrified of wasn't deadly enough to justify rushing jabs? I mean, let's be honest here, they pushed these jabs on people who had zero risk of dying from bat flu but suffered adverse effects from the jabs, and you call that a success?
Don't piss in my pocket and tell me it's raining.
Yeah, what about excess deaths and that elephant in the room that must be due to climate change, because it couldn't be anything else, could it, shit Rod? They followed the science, didn't they?
You know, we own the science.
Oh yeah, wait, the text proved they didn't follow the science, they made it up as they went along. Sorry, my mistake, but God, this guy is full of shit.
Would you, looking back now, do you think that your mandated vaccination programme at your company was based on fraud? It was based on the fact that they had exaggerated the fears. They said they wanted to frighten the pants off people. How frightened were you?
Yeah, of course, but we was totally misled. But as I say, I don't feel that, you know, we didn't actually implement it. That's what we plan to do for all new recruits. And, you know, staff still had a choice whether they wanted to have the vaccination or not. So I think we just carried out what it was suggested by us. And at that time, it sounded the best way to carry on things. But
now we get on to his no jab, no job that he was so proud of, and I do like how Bev Turner points out that he got played by the government.
Now, you've been
right grafted, royally turned over like some fucking yank buying London Bridge.
Yeah, she's loving this because remember, she was smeared and mocked on TV and now she's being proven right, as we all are. This, though, actually leads on to one of the best bits of the whole interview in my book because, as you heard, he admits that he couldn't even implement his no jab, no job policy, which maybe explains why he also sold up. This there suggests to me that he might have sold up because when he tried to implement it, the partners, shareholders or investors maybe pushed back against it and possibly even pushed him out. Either that or lawyers or possibly the government told him doing it would be discrimination without a law actually forcing it and he'd end up getting sued. Of course, it should also be remembered that at the time he was telling us we couldn't walk down the street without the jab. He wasn't even jabbed himself or in bloody England. Yeah, the scumbag was in the Costa del Tosspot unjabbed, living his best life while telling us how we should live ours.
What a wanker.
Anyway, though, we got another clip here, so let's quickly go through that and see what he actually says.
Did you lose any staff over it, Charlie? Did some people say, look, I'm just not going to do this, I'm not going to...
Well, there's a few people said that, you know, when it comes through, we're going to jump ship,
yeah.
and that's fine, that's their choice. But, you know, we was protecting customers, protecting staff.
Were customers...
Well, there you hear it from the horse's mouth. Staff planned to jump ship the second he put this policy in place, but as you heard, he never actually did. So maybe that was a reason why they didn't put it in, because all the staff planned to walk, or at least a certain section of them. That we suspected was the case, but to finish up, let's see this idiot double down on doing the same thing again, despite knowing they lied about everything he brought into.
Coming to you in bigger numbers because you were saying, I can provide a vaccinated plumber?
Undoubtedly. I mean, you know, we sent them out with test kits before they went through the door. And, yeah, look, you know, we were sort of certainly got the business side of it right, and it was the right thing. And, you know, I think I'll still carry out the same sort of procedure tomorrow, given the information by the government. I mean, we're not to know that they're misleading us or lying or withholding information.
Yeah, he ain't learned a lesson or nothing from this, has he? Instead, he'd do it all again, which I've got to say I'm not surprised. Now, I am actually shocked he agreed to come on here, considering how stupid these text messages make him look, but not once does he ever apologise for wanting to lock up people who didn't trust the liars he became the gobshite for. Though, to be honest, I don't really care if he did or ever does. I'll never forget what this and the rest of these scumbags did, let me tell you that for a fact now.
And, you know, the quicker that everybody acknowledges that, without proof of the vaccine, you can't go into a pub, club, restaurant, gymnasium, anywhere at all. You can't travel, theatre, you can't even go into work. I mean, personally, I have to say, I don't even think that we should allow people on the streets unless they've had the vaccine.